Welcome to the Prosperity Podcast for entrepreneurs who are ready to drop the hustle and earn more. I'm your host, Danielle Amos, business and success coach, certified Procter Gallagher Institute consultant, and lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I'll bring you amazing entrepreneurs who have built wealth, harnessing the power of their mind. Prosperity and money are truly about energy, and I'm on a mission to help you create financial abundance through the power of thought. It's time we started normalizing conversations about money and create the wealth that is yours. Are you ready? Let's do this. Welcome to episode 116 of the Prosperity Practice, the podcast that has you living your most abundant life. My name is Danielle Amos, and I am your host. Today, I have two incredible women as guests. You're going to meet Suzana Mihailovich, the author of Your Two Minds and the founder of this brand. She's also a mindset coach with me at the Procter Gallagher Institute, as well as her business partner, Makini Smith. Makini Smith is also a mindset coach. You also may know her from her podcast called A Walk in My Stilettos, which is also the name of her book. Makini is an entrepreneur. She also is with us at the Procter Gallagher Institute. Both of these women have applied this work to their own lives, and they've created a quantum leap. They're not only incredible in their own businesses because of this work, they're also working with fabulous clients all over the world who have incredible success. And what I noticed, I was recently interviewed by them, and what I noticed is that we could talk for hours about this material. And I thought there would be so much benefit to really be a fly on the wall for some of the conversations that we were having. And this is what you're going to get here in this interview with Makini Smith and Suzana Mihailovich, both coaches. So tune in, go to the show notes, follow us on social media, share this podcast with others. And I encourage you to reach out to each of us individually with your questions. We're here to help. Thank you for listening. Expect abundance. So let's get right into it. Today, Suzana and Makini are here with me to talk about competition. The fact that there's no such thing as competition, which is, questionable if you are part of the old paradigm where women do compete. They compare themselves. And even there's like a hierarchy thing that I'm used to, especially in my old career. And we're going to talk about how it's a new time. And we're really leading the forefront of this as women in leadership. In fact, Suzana, Makini, and I coach the same material. We're all coaches. We're all mentors. And we even were mentored by the same incredible man, Bob Proctor. And here we are collaborating and working together. And this isn't the first time we've come together. So it really is the beginning. Well, I believe that this time of women coming together has been happening for a little while, although we are really at the forefront of building this new paradigm. So I want to welcome both Suzana and Makini to the podcast, The Prosperity Practice. And let's get started. So who would like to kick us off? Makini, would you like to tell us why you believe there's no such thing as competition?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, thank you, Danielle, for having us on here and being open to have this conversation, which definitely speaks to the topic that we're talking about right now. So for me personally, I don't believe there's any such thing as competition. Like I was raised in the church, and my belief is that God doesn't run out of blessings. There's enough for us all. So that abundance mindset was instilled on me prior to me getting into personal development. But it's like, we can all even speak to the same group of people, and we may appeal to individual people differently. So there's no such thing as competition. We can come together to multiply our results and create more and have to work, I'm going to say less harder. Yeah. But God does not run out of blessings. So the more that we work together, the more that we can multiply.
That's so good. And the not running out of blessings, it's like Suzana's millions doesn't take away from yours or mine. There's more than enough to go around. I've often had maybe you've had the same. I've had clients say, well, like, isn't there a finite amount of money though? Here's the thing. I think about the infinity sign, like
Yes.
circulation.
Yes.
It's
Circulation.
So there is an infinite amount.
Yeah. And money has no value if it's just sitting there doing nothing, right? It has value when it's circulating.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So good. What about you, Suzana?
Well, when you think, I love the infinity sign. And when you think of the universe, I mean, just think of it. Think of the blackness of space, right? It goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. It doesn't end. And that's just like consciousness.
Yeah.
Consciousness that has created you, Danielle, you, Makini, myself, everyone, God, whatever you want to call it. It's infinite. So if we came from that energy, and that's who we mostly are, right? We've been conditioned to think that we are Suzana, the physical, Danielle, Makini, the physical. And yes, we are, but that's less than 1% of the truth that we are. If we came from the energy of consciousness, of God energy, of awareness that goes on forever and ever and ever, how can there ever be lack? And if you buy into competition, I mean, I think that's why the world is in the state that it is now. And and you're so right, Danielle, there is an energy that's pushing through. Not pushing is not the right word. It's birthing.
Yeah.
Coming through right now. The feminine is coming through. We've tried competition and it doesn't work. That's created, breakdowns, mental health issues, substance abuse, stress, nervous breakdowns, communities, families breaking up, wars in the world. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And when you are in a state of competition, you're actually living with that energy first and foremost. So it's affecting you. But also, I think, I love that question, there's no competition and why do we think that there's no competition? Well, why are we here? I think each of us, the three of us, definitely 100% are here because we have a purpose that's deep, deep, deep inside us, and we have a passion. And we have a passion to change, or we don't change it, but we're delivering a message, we're delivering information that most of the world, I put my hands down and say 99% of the world's population today, and that's decreasing because of many people that are awakening, that their paradigms are thinking that they're limited. And our purpose is to give that information and coach people through so that they can understand who they truly are and they can have what they were here to do. So if we are aligned with our purpose, it doesn't matter if, the client chooses you, Danielle, or you, Makini, or me. They're all getting what they need, right? So if we're completely aligned with our purpose, there's just gratitude in the end, because the person will be, getting what they need from whoever it is. And at the end of the day, we're all one anyway, so it doesn't matter. There's only one of us in the room, right? So, yeah.
That's so good. And when Makini said, there'll be people in the room that will be attracted to each of us for different reasons. And I believe that it's like it all goes around as well. Like, I know many people who have had I've had multiple mentors at the same time in the same space. And the reason I choose them is for a different reason. And it's like, I may even go between different people and learn from different people, throughout a few years. So I believe that there's like seasons when we resonate more with another person than and it moves and shifts, and it's all good because of the infinite supply that we talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Suzana mentioned, sorry.
No, go for it.
Suzana mentioned, our aligned purpose, and it's like similar to a mastermind. Like we come together to solve a problem. We all have the same purpose to solve and to create greater good and to create that impact. So we're aligned in that. So we're basically like, instead of having individual steps in the industry, one person trying to do everything, we're getting quantum leaps by working together for one common goal.
Yes.
And I think it's so important to trust the people that you attract on your journey, because there are thousands of people, doing this work. And you'll notice, well, I've noticed that there's people that I attract around me in a circle, like us coming together a few weeks ago. There's no coincidence in that. It was an idea in a mind, I got the invitation, then this, and it's just like, really, it's all part of the universe bringing exactly what we need in order to fulfill on that purpose together.
Yes.
And really trust in all of that.
Yes. Yes. And I think, in the Thinking into Results program, we go into our higher faculties, and one of those is intuition. So when you open up to a bigger idea, when you are aligned with your purpose, when you are brave enough to follow and demonstrate and live your purpose and serve through your purpose, you open up to a higher energy, higher ideas, and you open up to intuition.
Yeah.
And Makini and Suzana get together. Well, what about Danielle Amos? And it all just comes together. So everything is energy, isn't it? Everything comes from within. And when you're aligned, the messages come through. And there are no coincidences. There are absolutely no coincidences.
I think the whole alignment part of it, when we are aligned, we attract more of who we are, like people who are more like us, and we repel people who are not. Yeah. So, the three of us right now being in alignment for this common goal, having this conversation, it's because we're vibrating on the same frequency. There may be other women or other people in our industry that are doing the same work that don't resonate with us, whichever, direction they're at, because they're not aligned in this moment, in this season. But right now we are.
Yeah. And there's nothing good or bad, right or wrong about it, right? It's just different. I think that's also a really important part of like this awareness of not having competition, because I think the old model is like, I compete, you're wrong, I'm right.
Right. But that's being closed-minded, right? The whole scarcity part of it. Totally. We are open.
So what do we say to the women who are listening, like, okay, ladies, like, this is a great idea, like no competition, but really, like, what would you say to them that, like, maybe they're hearing this for the first time, they're very much used to the way the masses are thinking about competition. What would be the first step for them to open their hearts to, bringing other sisters together and like really creating the sisterhood and creating together, really understanding that we are creators? What would you say to them?
I would say that they should first look at themselves, inner reflection. Look at yourself. Why do you even have that mindset? Is it an insecurity that you have? Is it something that you need to work on? Oftentimes when we have those thoughts of comparing ourselves to someone else, it's because we see lack in ourselves. It's just an opportunity for something for us to strengthen. So once we look at those qualities within ourselves and say, okay, I love what she's doing. Let me not be envious of what she's doing, because what she has doesn't hurt me, doesn't take away from me. Okay, so she has, these qualities or, something that I admire. How can I emulate that? So oftentimes we're looking at someone else, comparing ourselves to someone else and focusing that energy on someone else when it's ourselves that we should be focusing on, because it's only us that we can change. We can't change other people. So when you're focused on improving yourself, you improve the relationships around you, you improve your connections with your family, you improve your relationships with your intimate partners, with your friends. You're able to do collaborations with other coaches in your industry. There's so much, I don't even know if I have the words right now, but there's so much goodness in, not subscribing to that old paradigm of competition. In the material that we teach, we're taught, like the root of the word is it creative, is from creator. Like we were created to create, not to compete.
So good. And I'm thinking, like, when you see something in another person that you admire, it's because it's in you. So I love how you pointed it back to the person, like, take a look at you, because this is always about, like, it's always about me. It's always about you, for you. It's always about Suzana. And so when we see something in another person, it's like, just stop, like, and you admire another woman, instead of the comparison, look at her, let's embrace it. And I would say celebrate her. So when you see a fabulous woman walking down the street and you're like, holy moly, say something. It's like, really?
That edification that helps lift her, that helps raise her vibration. And then you'll feel better about yourself and raise your own vibration.
Totally. And then that you're like, because you notice her, you resonate with her. That's in you, that beauty, that like charisma, whatever she has, recognizing it in you. And as you give her the compliment, that goodness has to run through you. It's like leaving her with the impression of increase.
Yeah. It's reflection versus projection.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reflection really is noticing the God in you, God in her, the spirit in her, the God in you. Because her spirit has been created by, and her beauty and, who she is has been created by that essence that you are. And whether you call it God or, I know a lot of Australians don't like the word God, some are comfortable with it, some aren't. Whether you call it God, universe, consciousness, spirit, awareness, intelligence, it's the same thing. And when you recognize it in another, it awakens it in you. And so you feel
so good.
Yes. And I would actually say to people, turn your competition into inspiration. And I totally agree with, Makini, it comes from within, what's happening within you. Turn it into inspiration. Spirit is inspiration. Spirit is where the answers are. You're whole, you're complete. You are infinite intelligence. You are infinite. There's nothing to compete. There's absolutely nothing, because you have absolutely everything inside you.
I also think that, like, by us coming together, that we each hold like codes or understanding, because of our life experiences. And it's been different, the way that we've been programmed. Makini, your upbringing has given you codes, and even before you were born with codes and understanding, Suzana as well. And as we come together and we even speak like this and like just riff on a topic, there's so much, like, I can say something that might spark something in Suzana or Makini, or, maybe someone listening here, that, and because of the way that I explain it, the way that you explain it, we awaken something, and the person then remembers their truth, remembers who they are. And I think there's so much value in that as women come together, especially because the divine feminine within is that intuitive state, our connection with our source, so I think we're just accessing, I think there's so much magic right now in us coming together and just accessing more and more information, becoming more and more aware at hyper speeds because of our willingness to collaborate. And I think we're seeing this all over the world, and it's baffling some people. I've worked with male accountants that are like, what is happening to you? Like, and I've passed on clients and they're like, this isn't even possible, like millions within a few months, like, and they can't explain it on a logical level. And I believe it's because we're coming together and sharing these codes as understandings, and we're breaking down the traditional definition of success. And it's not like that anymore.
I think it's interesting that you use the word codes, because, our brains are like these, super powerful computers. And it's like, we're getting our computers together and we're sharing codes so that we can crack onto that next level.
Yeah. And it's like almost like keys, like you've got a key, Makini, because that code gave you the key to this door, this understanding. Suzanna's got hers. And then all of a sudden we've got all these doors open to us, like the literally understanding more. So like, because we've lived it, because we've experienced it. It's not something that we've read in a book. We've actually
absolutely
have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, when you combine two or more energies, magic happens. It has to happen. Incredible stuff happen. And we've all experienced that in masterminds. I mean, Danielle, you were in one of the first masterminds that I was. And that was just pure like, whoa, what is happening? Nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden, everyone in that mastermind just had a quantum leap, and it felt like it happened overnight. So, I mean, even like in all of the spiritual books, they all say the same thing, right? The Bible says, two or one people come together. Two people coming together, their prayer must be answered. So it's similar when energies, feminine energies or any energy, masculine combined with the feminine also, that are aligned, that are completely aligned and have a higher vision, quantum leaps start to happen. The magic, and Bob would say, Suzana, it's not magic, it's just you. Yeah. I can't do the Canadian accent. It's meant to be our real experience of life, but we've been living, through generations of paradigms that tell us we're not enough.
It's true. That piece about not enough is really an important conversation, because I think you have to have a certain level of self-confidence, awareness, importance, self-love, in understanding who you are in order to not compete. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think the more you understand who you are, the more you learn about your higher faculties, about your mind, about your spirit, your paradigms, and you're aware that infinite intelligence, it goes on forever and ever and ever, is moving through you. It is more you than your body. You start to understand that there's no lack, that you can create your own future. I think it was Makini that said earlier, we are born creators. So there's no competition in creation.
Mm-hmm. And so when you say creation, let's riff on that a little bit. So when we create, because, and we all have an understanding of how the mind works. If someone's listening, let's talk about what we mean by creators. Makini, you want to take that
on? Sure. I mean, everything is created twice, right? First, it's created, I'm going to say prior to personal development, the definition I learned was like, first it's created in the spirit, and then it's created in reality. In personal development, we learn first it's created in the mind through our visuals, and then it's created in reality. We're given these visions to create and produce things, and whether that be content or physical things or books or whatever, we're given the resources to put together something that is of a solution to someone else. So we're creating solutions, we're being of service to other people, whether that be through content or the work that we do. We're providing solutions to help other people live their lives better.
That's awesome. And if we're created in God's image, and God is the creator, universe is, the creator, and we have been gifted then with the mental faculties to do exactly what Makini's saying, to the mental faculties being imagination, will, perception. And, we use these faculties to create the image, especially imagination, to create that picture, and then it shows up in the physical world. And I often think about like something that we use every day, the cell phone. Like Steve Jobs had to think of this iPhone in his mind And now we all hold it in our hand, the chair we're sitting on, absolutely everything was an idea in someone's mind first. And now it's here to serve. So with that, we each have these ideas, and the ideas are unique to us. There may be similar, especially as we talk about things and we can expand on ideas. If there's no such thing as competition, then we can each create from within. I just see this like, I'm the creator, Makini's the creator, Suzana's the creator. We're a center of divine operation. And then our world that we experience is unique to us because of these mental faculties.
Yeah.
Suzana, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love this conversation. For me, creation, I absolutely agree with everything. For me, creation comes from the heart center. So yes, we are taught that that the mind creates an image and all that, but real creation is from the heart center, and then the mind, the image. And the heart center is the language of your soul, and the language of your soul taps into infinite possibilities. So creation on the infinite, in the invisible, is a vibration. It's already there, and it's your heart tapping into your soul, your purpose, your love. And from that space, you can create from your mind first and then your heart, or just your mind, absolutely. But I think here is where, intelligence is, where our messages come through, where creation starts. And I think when you look at all, Steve Jobs and the genius is in there too, musicians, artists that have created something, tremendous leaders, they've all created from the heart space. So for me, it's the heart first, the passion, and that's where you are aligned. If you're just up here, if you're just thinking of ideas, you can get into competition. You can be, misaligned or out of alignment. But the heart space and the heart center is where creation, passion, purpose, and spirit talk to us. It's where we get our messages.
I wanted to add to what you were saying, Suzana, with the being aligned. I agree with you. It's not in the mind first. Like, in order for that vision to come to you, you need to be aligned with source. You need to be tapped into source to be given that vision, first of all, right? So I totally agree with you on that in terms of being aligned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. And I think if people are listening to us and maybe they've studied with us, I see the difference of that, like the conscious mind, like the intellectual mind, the thinking mind versus the unconscious or subconscious that's part of universal mind, which is the heart. The Greeks say is the heart. And Bob, I think of Bob drawing the stick person, and he puts the heart in the bottom half of his stick person. And he's like, the Greeks call this, and Napoleon Hill says sixth sense, intuition,
Yes.
Yeah. It's good.
My mind was blown the very first time I saw Bob draw that stick person. I had watched the documentary, The Secret. I'd known of who he was, but the first time I got to encounter him in person and he drew that circle, and I sat there and it was like the top of my brain had popped off. And I was like, oh, wow, that changed everything for me, of my perspective of how we view things. He just simplified it.
Yeah. I think that's he had such a great way of explaining things that is so simple, where really anyone could understand it, and I think that that's a result of how long he was in this material and applying it to his life and teaching it. Because if you look back, or if you listen to earlier tracks of his or earlier recordings, he doesn't explain it as simply as what he did in later years. And it was such a gift.
He perfected it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And he really understood that there was no such thing as competition. I was speaking with a person that wrote a lot of the programs, Diane, recently. And she was saying how he would like introduce her to absolutely everyone else, like Jack Canfield, and like she worked with all these other people, and it was because of Bob, and he wanted to share her expertise with the people that he knew in the industry. And I remember him saying like he never ever knew what other people were doing. He never
That's
like
right.
he never looked at like what Tony Robbins was doing
Yeah.
or anyone else in the industry. He just like put his head down, worked. And if it came where there was like an opportunity to collaborate or and the idea came, he would absolutely do that because he understood that there was no such thing as competition. I love
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good. Anything else to add? Any like advice for or recommendations for women listening to us that, you know, are exploring perhaps this side of them to collaborate with other women, learn from other women, maybe in their own careers or perhaps, you know, in personal development? What do you have to say to someone that's just getting started? Any last kind of words?
I would say just
Go for it.
I would say just let go of your fears. You know, you are whole, complete. You've got the whole universe inside you. There's nothing to compete. And together, you know, you have quantum leaps. Together, new ideas come through. And it's so much more fun. I've had such a great time here learning from you both and being in this space and the energy of the both of you. How much fun is that? Like if we were competing, we would have missed this experience. So don't do it on your own. You've got your own vision and your own purpose that's unique. You are unique. Nobody can take that away from you. And when you understand your own power within and the resources you have within, you understand that there's absolutely no competition.
I would say that sometimes we block our own blessings, especially as women that have that, competition mentality. A lot of the things that we do, a lot of the things that we say, a lot of the actions that we have, we are the ones blocking our own blessings. You know, instead of looking at someone else and saying, you know, what they did to us or, you know, what they're presently doing, get out of your own way. I think what has worked for me in terms of manifesting things quicker and being able to multiply my results is one, doing things from a place of love. It's about, and I say this all the time, like our feelings are labels for the vibration that we're on. So trying my best to stay on that high vibration, but doing things out of love. Like every interaction that I've had in co-creating things with Suzana has been out of love. It's been a good feeling. There's never been that, you know, that low vibration or, you know, anything like that. So it keeps things moving. To being of service. You know, money is a reward for service. So everything that we do is out of service. It's not out of ego. It's not out of, being self-centered or any of those things. It's how can we serve? How can we make a greater impact? How can we help others tap into their full potential? How can we help you fulfill your dreams and reach your goals? And then 3, like belief, faith. I feel like Suzana and I are both heavy believers, and in believing that what it is that we are trying to do is possible, believing that our dreams and our desires are things that we can make happen. And then for patience, everything, again, co-creating with Suzana has been about flow. You know, we're not trying to force a timeline. It's like, okay, you know, we had our book coming out. I had this huge launch plan that I wanted to do. Life happened. We adjusted and let things flow. There was no tension. Suzana was always graceful and was like, you know, you've got things going on, no problem. we can, make do with this, or we can do this. We didn't have to force anything in order to make it happen. Just through flow, the book was able to be a bestseller. Just through flow, we were able to, have conversations with you, Danielle, with, other coaches and past clients and things like that. So those are the 4 things that I would say to the women listening. Do things from a place of love, be of service, have faith and belief that it is possible, and be patient.
That's good. When you were talking about flow, I was also thinking that this is also such an essential piece if you are looking to collaborate and, really understand that there's no such thing as competition, because the force, like the opposite of that, is very much part of that old paradigm. And we all know that the force negates. And I also want to say, like, we don't need the old paradigm to crumble in the world for this new way of collaboration to rise. Like, we get to just be in that energy. We just get to attract the people that are in harmony with that idea, and go with that. And I love the idea of all 4 of those. Thanks, Makini. And so let's also celebrate your book, a collaboration of the 2 of you, and then all the people that you brought together for the interview series. So we'll put a link in the show notes. You want to talk a little bit about the book and where that idea came from and what people can expect from it?
Sure. So Makini called me, and another thing just to add to that list, just follow your intuition. Hadn't heard from Makini for a while. She was my publisher for my previous book, and she reached out and said, "Oh, do you want to do some work together?" I said, "Yeah, okay." So out of that, we did a workshop, and it was called Renewing Your Mind. The name came through us. And the workshop was so well received, and we received so many messages from people just saying how it changed something in them, how their life had turned, and how, many wanted to come and work with us. And we had the recordings there, and we thought, well, why don't we just reach out to more people through a book. The one thing that I didn't mention, the book, when we were organizing the workshop, what was happening, that was during the lockdowns and COVID and everything. So both Makini's clients and mine, most of them were, going through turmoil, chaos. It was a very hard and heavy energy. And that was the reason, and we designed the workshop around moving through that chaos to a new mind, to a new life, to clarity. And because it was so well received, we thought, well, let's just create a book out of it. So it was that simple flow. It came through us. Nothing was planned. It just came through us.
I love it.
I want to add to what Suzana said. When we reconnected and decided to do this, and even naming it Renewing Your Mind, we made a brainstorm list of possible names to do the workshop and our co-creation. And when we landed on Renewing Your Mind, and then it was after that where we realized that the Bible scripture, Romans 12:2, about renewing your mind. So that helped become like the motto for our group. Everything just flowed so easy. Like, even, when we were coming up with the subtitle of A Guide to How to Transform Your World from Chaos to Clarity, it was kind of just a thought that came, and I was like, well, let's create something like this. And Suzana's like, no, that's perfect. So everything with us just flowed.
So good. And it can be, and it gets to be that easy when you're in that vibration. You're just open to it flowing, right? And you do have the creative mindset rather than the competitive mindset.
Yes,
for sure.
Trust
it's
and
easy.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
We loved working. I love working with Makini, and we just enjoyed the process. So when you're in trust and faith and you're enjoying the process, you're enjoying the serving, you're enjoying what other people are getting out of it. It's not just about us. It's what other people are getting out of it that actually fed us and fed more ideas to come through us. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And I think we play off of each other's strengths. So it's even during a mastermind, or, the other day we did a work session for another community, and it's like, okay, well, I know this is my strength, so I'll talk here. And then, okay, Suzana, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
We've been able to play off of each other's strengths, which is amazing as well.
That's so great. When I think about the service piece and the number of people that we can reach, like even coming together here, where, all three of our audiences will have a chance to come together, so it's more people, and that there's a great ripple effect to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ladies. I feel like the time just flown by, and I feel like we could talk about all the topics all day long. There's just so much here for us to expand on. And I'm really, really grateful for your time, for joining me on the Prosperity Practice, for your work together, the book, the interview series. Thank you so much. I'll ask you to finish with, I love one line. If you could just say one quote or something that you'd like the audience to remember you by, let's do that and close. And I want to thank all of our listeners. We'll put in the show notes a link to the book. We'll put Makini and Suzana's information so that you can connect with them. Please reach out to them, follow them on social media, and share your ahas and tag us. We're happy to respond, and we're so grateful for your listening and your sharing of this podcast. So Suzana, you want to kick us off?
So Danielle, when you said that, the first thing that came up for me and for your audience, anyone listening, is please remember that if you did not exist, the whole universe would be out of alignment. It couldn't function the way it's functioning. So therefore, there's no competition. It doesn't exist.
Thank you.
And I would say that every experience is co-created, no matter how we look at it. So rather than fight it, accept it. Every experience is co-created. We are co-creating this experience right now. Whatever we do throughout the day is co-created experience that we have with other people. So once you realize that, you'll be fighting it less because you realize it's happening anyway.
So true. So good. Thank you to each of you. So much love. I'm grateful for us coming together and attracting this experience. I look forward to our next collaboration.
Most definitely.
Expect abundance. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode with these two incredible guests, Suzana and Makini. Like I said in the introduction, please share this podcast with others who you feel will resonate. And go follow us on social media. Reach out with your questions. We're here to serve you. Thank you again for listening. I'm so grateful. Expect abundance.